Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and this is my annual vlog for Doctor Who. Usually at the end of the year I make a video where I give my thoughts on everything Doctor Who that happened this past year. Unfortunately though, this video is a little late because, well, for one thing, I was busy with my job. I usually work at night, but that ended last week. Also, the last thing that happened was the Christmas special this year was the regeneration of Matt Smith, so I decided to wait a little bit to actually do this because I didn't really want to give people enough time to see it and avoid accidentally leaking any spoilers. But I'm here now, so I'd say sorry this video is late, but let's talk about things that happened with Doctor Who in 2013. Alright, the first thing that happened in 2013 was the second half of Series 7. This saw the introduction of the Doctor's new companion, Clara Osmond Oswald, played by Jenna Louise Coleman. Also in Series 7, the Doctor, although from what we saw with the Snowman, the TARDIS interior is different. Also, the Doctor got a new costume, got a new outfit. Apparently the bow tie he wears is, I think it was implied to be the bow tie he wore during his second incarnation, played by Patrick Troughton. But the second half of Series 7 was really great. The overall arc of the second half of this series did deal with who exactly is Clara. I mean, the thing is though, Jenna Coleman played two other versions of the character. One in the Snowman, Clara in the Snowman, who was a nanny governess in the Victorian era, and also a girl who was trapped in the Dalek Asylum from Asylum of the Daleks. Now pretty much Series 7, it dealt with most of the episodes dealt with the Doctor trying to figure out who exactly Clara is and how he was able to encounter her twice and how she died twice and how she could be the exact same person. All of this was revealed, and Series 7 did have a number of good episodes. The Bells of St. John's, Ring of Akaton, which by the way the speech to Matt that the 11th Doctor delivers to the Parasite God is probably one of the best moments of Matt Smith in Doctor Who. Then also the Crimson Horror, Nightmare in Silver, and then the last episode, The Name of the Doctor. The Name of the Doctor was a pretty great episode because it pretty much was the lead-in to the 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor. And it also did finally give us some answers about why the Doctor's been avoiding Trenzalore, also because it's where he dies, and apparently that's where the TARDIS is after his death, and it's pretty much been somewhat collapsing as it's grown bigger. So it's almost exactly the same size it would be, accommodating for all the rooms inside it. And also, it's also where the Doctor's final resting place is, because there's a big battle, and that's where the Doctor finally met his end on Trenzalore. And apparently instead of a body, the Doctor's time stream is displayed, and the Great Intelligent tries to use this to kill the Doctor at various points throughout his life, but then Clara is able to save him by going into the Doctor's time stream and stopping the Great Intelligence, which is how the Doctor encountered two previous versions of Clara, and also how there have been many other versions of Clara that have saved him from the Intelligence numerous times throughout his life. And also, fortunately, the Doctor is able to go into his time stream and save Clara just in time, but not before Clara gets wind of another incarnation of the Doctor, another form that the Doctor says was never referred to as the Doctor, and this new incarnation is played by John Hurt. And at the end of the episode, once the Doctor leaves with Clara, gets Clara out of his time stream, it's revealed that it pretty much says introducing John Hurt as the Doctor, and it's pretty much implied and confirmed in the special that this is the Doctor this is the form incarnation of the Doctor that lived throughout the Time War. Like, not even before or after the Time War, like exactly with the Time War, because the 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor, it reunited. We got a Doctor team up. We have the new character, the War Doctor, played by John Hurt, and we also have the 10th Doctor, David Tennant, reprising the role again. in this special. And also Billy Piper who played Rose Tyler, comes back, but not as Rose, but as this sort of defense mechanism on the weapon the War Doctor was going to use to end the Time War, known as the Moment. And apparently the Moment develops sentience, and it uses this sort of simulation of Rose Tyler or Bad Wolf to communicate with the Doctor, communicate with the War Doctor, and show him what's going to happen once he uses the Moment. All right, and also back to what I said before about the War Doctor being exactly with the Time War. That's all true, because it was revealed in a little minisode that the BBC posted online. Was that, and this one actually it shows how the Eighth Doctor died and how he regenerated into the War Doctor. And Paul McGann reprises his role as the Eighth Doctor in this minisode, which I thought was very nice and very great, because Paul McGann didn't get enough screen time as the Doctor. He only had that one movie, and yeah, he did several audio plays, but he wasn't really on screen as much, which I think is a damn shame. Because he was good. And all right, what happens in the minisode it's a prequel, and it's called The Night of the Doctor, is that the Eighth Doctor, the Time War is still going on, but the Doctor's not participating in it yet, so the Eighth Doctor is trying to save someone, but she doesn't go with him when she realizes he's a Time Lord, and thinks that, he's going to get her involved in the Time War, and she chooses to die instead of accept his rescue. And after this, the Doctor crash lands on I forgot the planet. It was the planet from the Brain of Morbius. And that's where he meets this cult of time ladies who say they have been able to figure out how to choose a regeneration. And so at this point, the Doctor, with what happened, realizes that the Time War is gone on long enough and he needs to end it. So he decides to take a formula that will make his next incarnation more of a warrior rather than a doctor. And so once he takes that, he regenerates into the John Hurt Doctor and enters the Time War. Then for the day of like I said, in the Day of the Doctor, it is a lot more focused. Well, I wouldn't say it's focused all the time on the Time War. It's more or less the way the two Doctors, 11 and 10, meet each other, and how they meet the War Doctor. And pretty much, and of course, when you get more than one incarnation of the Doctor together, it's really funny how you see them interact, because often the past Doctors are more critical about their future incarnations, such as this funny scene where 11 and 10 are like comparing taking out their sonic screwdrivers, and 10 notices 11 and he's like, "Are you overcompensating for something?" That was hilarious. And also when they finally meet the War Doctor, and 11 mentions something about timey-wimey, and the War Doctor's surprised, and 10 just shrugs off like, "I have no idea where you get this stuff." So yeah, those moments were great. Are always fun to see when you have different incarnations of the Doctor at the same time. And also we get more about that whole story about how the 10th Doctor married Queen Elizabeth. So more on that's revealed. Yeah, but ultimately though it does involve the 10th and the 11th Doctor go to see the War Doctor just to see he's able to activate the Moment, and then they get another idea, and because of this adventure they had prior to in the same special with the Zygons, who are sort of traveling through this sort of 3D paintings, they get the idea now that they could actually save Gallifrey by putting it in another by putting it in a pocket universe. And so they're able to do that, not just the three of them, but they call in all 13 Doctors. Now when I say 13, I mean Peter Capaldi's Doctor actually makes a very surprising cameo with this. When pretty much the three Doctors are calling in all their other incarnations, Capaldi's the Time Lord General makes a comment like, "Oh God, there's 12 of them. I don't believe this." Then we hear Capaldi's Doctor show up saying, "No, sir, all 13." And it's not really a big deal. We just see like his hand and his eyes. That's it. But it was still pretty epic. And so the Doctor's able to put Gallifrey in a pocket dimension, save it from the destruction, and end the Time War right there. And because all the Daleks are firing on Gallifrey, when they take out the planet, the Daleks just destroy each other, and that's the end of the Time War. However, though, because the Doctor was dealing with his multiple incarnations, as soon as the 10th and War Doctor leave, though, they're going to forget all this. So 11's still going to have the so he's still going to think he destroyed Gallifrey, but eventually when he's 11, he's going to realize, okay, I actually saved it. Yay me! And one more Doctor actor makes a cameo in the Day of the Doctor. But not as the Doctor, or maybe it was kind of vague. But after War and 10 leave, by the way, right after the War Doctor leaves, that's when he starts to regenerate. Because like the first Doctor, he described it as now he's wearing a bit thin. So that leads to his regeneration, old age, and as he's regenerating, he starts to like change into Christopher Eccleston. So that was nice that we did get to see some mention of Christopher Eccleston, even though he wasn't actually in the special, which is bad. But hey, he said he obviously didn't want to do it, so I can respect that. And but back to what I was saying before about another Doctor actor. After War and 10 leave, Matt Smith and Clara goes into the TARDIS. 11's alone in the museum, saying how he can retire and become like the curator of this museum. Suddenly Tom Baker shows up. He's not the Doctor though, or maybe. It's kind of hard. He's implying that in his future he may revisit some old faces. So, but yeah, that was a great moment seeing Tom Baker and Matt Smith together. And I mean, right when I saw Tom Baker, I practically leapt from my seat. I was really excited. I was tapping my sister and my friend like, dude, that's Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor, awesome. And so pretty much the purpose of Baker being there was just that he kind of told 11 that Gallifrey did survive and it's still out there. And so the special pretty much ends with the 11th Doctor reflecting on what's happened, and that now he says that, and he tells himself that now after all these years of traveling, he finally has a destination, and that he's now going to be searching for his home. And that's the end, and that was Day of the Doctor. And of course that's not the only thing that they did to celebrate Doctor Who's 50th anniversary. They also did another TV movie special called An Adventure of Space and Time, which is sort of a documentary, well, not a documentary, but like a story that shows what happened when the BBC what happened when they first created Doctor Who, like in the very first William Hartnell era. It pretty much goes into detail about how they made the first episode, all the problems that came up, like how at the beginning they said they wanted a sci-fi show, but no robots or bug-eyed monsters and stuff like that. But then eventually, as it went on, Doctor Who kind of became a cult classic, even in its early days, even with the William Hartnell era, and it pretty much just covers that particular era of Doctor Who. The movie kind of ends right with William Hartnell's last episode, right when he's about to be replaced with Patrick Troughton, and as the movie goes on, you can kind of see that the problems with Hartnell was that it was his health that they mainly wanted to replace. Him. It was mostly health issues that caused Hartnell to step down, and he didn't want to. He said he didn't want to leave, but he had to because he wasn't feeling well. So yeah, I would say Adventure, and yeah, I'm sorry I can't really go into much detail about it. And Adventure of Space and Time, I actually just saw it last night online, but it was a good special. I think anyone who's watching Doctor Who now or in the old days, they deserve to see this, just to see how it got started, how it took off and such. I thought it was a very nice little special television movie. So I would say definitely, I know it's on DVD in the UK, but I don't know if it's available in Region 1 yet. But when it does come out on DVD, or actually I think you can still buy it on iTunes, so if you get the chance, get it. It's a great special. I would highly recommend it. Alright, and the last thing that happened in 2013 for Doctor Who was the time of the Doctor. it's Matt Smith's final Christmas episode, his final episode of Doctor Who, because this is where the Doctor regenerates. I mean, the 11th Doctor regenerates. But I was very sad when I started watching it, because I knew this would be it for Matt Smith, and he is a great Doctor. He's my second favorite Doctor. I've loved him. He's fun. He's brought new energy into the role. I kind of wish we could have at least had one more year of him and Clara, because I think Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman have great chemistry together, and that's something I should have mentioned when I was talking about the second half of Series 7. But they do have great on-screen chemistry. They're both fun to watch together. So when I heard Matt Smith was going to leave after Series 7, I just kind of thought, why can't we just at least have one more full season of 11 and Clara? That would have been great. I mean, after that, I probably wouldn't be as sad as much, but what are you going to do? He has to move. Matt Smith wants to move on. But pretty much the Time of the Doctor is another story that is centered on the Silence, and it also deals with the fallout of the Day of the Doctor, which is Gallifrey being trapped in another dimension. Okay, and again, there are going to be spoilers here, so if you don't want to know anything, don't watch the rest of this video. But okay, so pretty much the Time of the Doctor, it deals with every single thing that has been dealt with since Matt Smith's since the beginning of the Matt Smith era. Gave us an explanation as to what the cracks in time actually, the cracks in the universe actually are, what exactly the prophecy meant when it said silence will fall on Trenzalore. It pretty much meant that the enemy that the Doctor is the cracks are actually Gallifrey trying to get back into the normal universe. But however, though, they need to know that the Doctor's real name, just to be sure that this is their universe that they can get back into. And because of this, though, there are countless organizations that are trying to stop the Doctor from saying his name. And the thing about Trenzalore, though, is that it's this weird planet where if you ask a question, you have to speak the truth. And there are countless races that are trying to stop the Doctor from saying his name, because they're trying to stop the Time Lords from coming back, because some hate the Time Lords, like the Daleks or the Cybermen. Others, like the Church of Silence, they are actually trying to stop. They don't want Gallifrey back because they believe that once the Time Lords are back, the Time War is going to begin again. And so the Doctor kind of has to... And the Doctor really isn't defending Gallifrey, he's just defending Trenzalore to prevent people from getting hurt and stuff over what's going on. But eventually, and pretty much he's... for most of the special, the Doctor is staying on Trenzalore, and he's fighting back, and he's pretty much staying there now. It's his new home, and he's fighting back. He's also become like this hero to the people, and and later, though, when Clara comes back, because she sort of hung on to the TARDIS right when it was going to be sent back to him, and he speaks to her, Clara notices that he's starting to age, which is very interesting, the 11th Doctor reveals that this is actually his last body. Because, okay, because hear me out, there have been 11 incarnations of the Doctor, and a Time Lord gets 12 regeneration changes, like 12 regeneration processes. And so pretty much there's, okay, I can't really do fingers, so there's 11 Doctors, plus the War Doctor, who the Doctor referred to as Grumpy. And so that's 12, and then but you're asking yourself, wait, he has one more regeneration. Wrong, because apparently the regeneration that Ten used back at the end of Stolen Earth, which he, regenerated to heal the wound, then shot the extra energy into his spare hand, which caused the Metacrisis Doctor, apparently that still counts. So it's his last body. And, pretty much Clara is able to come back sort of on and off with this. Like, the TARDIS brings her back, like, first brings her to Earth, then brings her back to Trenzalore, and as she comes back, it's like hundreds of years have passed for her, and the Doctor is very old, and Doctor, once again, he's getting old, he's about to die of old age, much like his first and War incarnations, and then Clara is sort of able to use the cracks to kind of talk with the Time Lords and say that, look, this is, like, you don't need to know his real name. It's all you need to know is that he's the Doctor. He's trying to face all his enemies at once, so please help him. And after Clara speaks to that, another crack opens up near the Doctor and shoots out regeneration energy because the Time Lords have given him a new regeneration cycle. Yay! The Doctor's back! And so once the Doctor gets his new regeneration cycle, he releases a bunch of regeneration energy that takes care of all his enemies, saves Trenzalore, and prevents his death. The death we saw at the Name of the Doctor, where his time stream would be left with his time stream and everything. Well, after that, he goes back to the TARDIS, and he looks like himself again. He looks like his, regular 11th self, but apparently that was just a reset button, and Clara joins him in the TARDIS, and he reveals that he's about to change again, and the 11th Doctor gives this really great speech about how you have to keep moving on. If you look at your life, you're always different people, and now it's going to happen again. And he gets a brief illusion of Amy Pond saying Raggedy Man goodnight, and he tells Clara that, the Doctor's going to be here, but I will not forget this face. I'm not going to forget my time as the Doctor. And then, boom, becomes Peter Capaldi. Oh, and also before he regenerates, he takes off his bow tie, then turns into Capaldi. And right when that happens, Capaldi looks at Clara for a minute, then freaks out because he's got new kidneys, and then the TARDIS starts to crash again, and that's where the special ends. So yeah, the weird thing about Matt Smith's regeneration is that it was kind of it felt like the opposite of the way David Tennant's went, because for David Tennant's regeneration, after he gets in the TARDIS, he just says, I don't want to go. Then we get the huge, big, flashy regeneration that nearly destroys the entire console room. But for Matt Smith, however, we get like a whole, like really long, like 2 or 3 minute speech, and then boom, like not even a big flash of light, just like a boom flash, and then he's Capaldi. So yeah, but nevertheless, it was a good regeneration. I thought the way Matt Smith delivered his speech, the way he said that he's not going to forget he was the Doctor, I thought that was great. I thought that was something the fans needed to hear, and clearly, in Matt Smith, he did love being the Doctor, but like he said, you gotta keep moving, you gotta keep going, and you gotta keep changing. So, I thought that was great. Amy Pond, the cameo by Amy Pond was something that's a little interesting, but nice at the same time, because that's something they do. They always have the Doctor sort of go through whenever a Doctor is about to regenerate, he does kind of have these illusions or memories of the group of companions he traveled with. So I think that's something that's the reason Amy was there. And then once again, they ignore Rory, but doesn't matter. It was still a good regeneration. I thought the time with the Doctor was a great farewell to Matt Smith. Clearly, the Doctor went out fighting. The 11th Doctor went out fighting. It was a big way, and I think a lot of people who loved Matt Smith, I know a lot of my friends did, they are really going to love this episode, and I think everyone who did enjoy Matt Smith is going to love him. And also, for Peter Capaldi, I'm pretty much just on a wait-and-see attitude. I am not sure whether or not I don't know what's going to happen with him, but so far with the cameo he had in the Day of the Doctor and his first few moments at the end of the Time of the Doctor, I would say, yeah, I think we're in good. I'd say the show's in good hands. So yeah. So now it's 2014. We've got a new Doctor. Can't wait to see. Unfortunately, we're all gonna have to wait till this fall to finally see what's gonna happen. But nevertheless, I hope it's good. I think Capaldi knows what he's doing. Also, I'm sad that Matt Smith is gone. But hey, you gotta keep moving. And 2013, it was a big year for Doctor Who. It was the 50th anniversary. They did it in a big way with both the Day of the Doctor and the special and an adventure in space and time. They know how to celebrate it, and clearly I'm pretty sure a lot of fans were happy with what we got. So yeah, overall, 2013 was a great year for Doctor Who. I really loved the Day of the Doctor, and the Time of the Doctor, and the Name of the Doctor. The whole end of Matt Smith trilogy thing that they had going on. And yeah, everything was just great. Really think 2013 was a good year to be a Doctor Who fan. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I also did a video where I showed what I was doing on my way to the Day of the Doctor's, when I went to go see the Day of the Doctor special, so that's on my channel somewhere. I'll probably put an annotation to it somewhere. But anyways, thanks again for watching. Thank you for watching my channel. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.